Hey, Dolphins Nation! Welcome back to the channel where we bring you all the latest news, updates, and inside scoops on our beloved Miami Dolphins. The team is constantly working hard, always striving to improve, and we've got some huge updates that could turn the tide for our season. But before we dive into today's hot topics, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more exclusive Dolphins content. Your support helps keep this community strong, and you won't want to miss out on what's coming next. Alright, let's get into it. The big headline today: our starting quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, is expected to make his return to the field this season. This news comes straight from head coach Mike McDaniel, who told reporters on Monday that Tua has received some very encouraging feedback from his doctors, specifically a neurologist, during the team's bye week. McDaniel had this to say: "I expect to see him playing football in 2024. That's the news we've all been waiting for, right?" Tua is on the injured reserve list right now after suffering a concussion back in Week 2 against the Buffalo Bills. It was a scary moment, no doubt about it. This was Tua's third concussion since entering the league, which raised concerns not just for his season, but for his career. The good news: according to reports, Tua hasn't had any persistent symptoms from that concussion, and he's been making steady progress. The earliest we might see him back on the field is the game on October 27th against the Arizona Cardinals. But, Dolphins fans, let's take a moment here. We've got to recognize the risks involved. With multiple concussions in a short span, Tua's health is something the team will, and should, continue to monitor closely. We don't want him rushing back too soon, especially considering how vital he is to this team's success. Still, knowing he's on track to return and that his recovery is going well, that's a huge sigh of relief for all of us. For those of you who might have missed it, let's quickly recap how Tua got hurt in that Week 2 game against the Bills. It was a critical play, 4th and 4, inside the red zone, and Tua, ever the competitor, decided to go for it. Instead of sliding, he took a hard hit from Buffalo's Damar Hamlin. Tua's head made contact with Hamlin's arm, and immediately, you could see he wasn't right. He didn't need an ambulance this time, thank goodness, but it was a stark reminder of how physical and dangerous this sport can be, especially for our QB1. That's why the team has been cautious with his recovery, and why we, as fans, need to be patient as well. So, what does this mean for the team until Tua is back? As of right now, Huntley is stepping in as the starting quarterback. Huntley, who has shown flashes of solid play in the past, has a big opportunity to prove himself while Tua works his way back. The Dolphins, sitting at 2-3, are still very much in the playoff hunt, but it's going to take consistent performances from Huntley and the offense to keep things moving. The good news for Huntley? The team around him is still stacked with talent. We've got an explosive receiving core, a strong running game, and an improving offensive line. It's going to come down to execution, but Huntley's ability to manage the game will be critical in the weeks ahead. But Tua's not the only key player we've been waiting on. Let's switch gears to the defense for a moment, because Bradley Chubb, our star pass rusher, is still working his way back from that ACL injury he suffered at the tail end of last season. The injury, which happened on New Year's Eve, has kept him off the field, and while he's eligible to come off the physically unable to perform (PUP) list, Coach McDaniel made it clear that Chubb's return isn't happening just yet. McDaniel said, "I don't expect to see Bradley this week, and as for the weeks after, we'll have to wait and see." He did, however, express optimism about Chubb's progress, saying, "The way he's attacked his rehab has been amazing. I'm optimistic we'll see him play in 2024. Chubb, who we acquired in a trade from the Denver Broncos in 2022, is a force to be reckoned with when he's healthy. With 39.5 career sacks, he brings elite pass-rushing ability that the Dolphins have missed so far this season. The defense has struggled to get to the quarterback consistently, ranking among the bottom teams in sacks this year. Chubb's return could give this defense the spark it needs as we head into the second half of the season. On top of waiting for Chubb's return, we've already had to deal with the devastating loss of Jayon Phillips, who suffered a season-ending knee injury a few weeks back. Phillips was emerging as one of the key pieces of this defense, and losing him has forced the team to lean more on players like Emmanuel Ogbah, Chop Robinson, and others to step up in his absence. Ogbah has been solid, registering a sack so far this season, but the unit as a whole has struggled to generate consistent pressure without Phillips. The Dolphins are currently relying on a combination of Quinton Bell, Tyus Bowser, and even rookie Mohamed Kamara to pick up the slack at outside linebacker. It's been a tough challenge, but the hope is that when Chubb returns, the Dolphins can get back to pressuring opposing quarterbacks like we know this defense is capable of doing. So, with all of this in mind, what's the path forward for our Miami Dolphins? Right now, the goal has to be staying afloat until Tua and Chubb can return to action. This team has been competitive, even with the injuries, but it's clear that getting our top guys back on the field will be the difference between contending for a playoff spot or just surviving the season. Coach McDaniel has done an excellent job keeping the team motivated and focused, despite the setbacks. His offensive genius is undeniable, but what's impressed me the most is how he's managed to keep the locker room engaged and ready to compete every single week. The Dolphins are only one game below .500, and the AFC East is still wide open. The defense, led by players like Zach Sealer, Javon Holland, and Kendall Fuller, has been holding things down. And while they've had to deal with key injuries, this unit has shown resilience. They've kept us in games, and once we get some reinforcements back, we could see the Dolphins' defense turn into a real problem for opposing offenses. Absolutely. Dolphins fans, there's every reason to be optimistic about this team. Yes, we've been hit hard by injuries, but the core of this team is still very much intact. Tua's return will give a massive boost to the offense, especially with the dynamic playmakers we have on the field like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Raheem Mostert. Add Bradley Chubb back into the mix on defense, and suddenly, you've got a Miami Dolphins team that can be a serious contender in the AFC. Now it's time to hear from you. Are you excited about Tua's potential return this season? Do you think he'll come back stronger than ever, or should the Dolphins be cautious with his health? And what about Bradley Chubb? How big of an impact do you think his return will have on the defense? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know how you feel about the state of the team as we head into the second half of the season. Can Miami still make a push for the playoffs? Or should we focus on getting healthy and reloading for next year? As always, if you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Dolphins content. Your support means everything to us, and we've got plenty more news and analysis coming your way as the season progresses. That wraps up our update for today. Dolphins fans, we're heading into a crucial stretch of the season, but with Tua and Chubb potentially returning soon, the best may still be ahead. Let's keep the faith, stay strong, and look forward to what's shaping up to be an exciting rest of the year. Thanks for watching, Dolphins Nation, and until next time, fins up.